Will, there's a question in from somebody here, Tom, and it was something actually Brian said at the interval. We must ask Will about that if we get a chance. Just looking for Will's insights into Jonny Wilkinson.
Wow, there's a character. So the best way I can describe him, but I assume at some stage in your career, whether it's school or your hockey team, you've had to do a fitness session, right? We've all had to do a fitness session. And I would say 99.9% of us would want to know what the fitness session is before we start. What's the fitness session? What, are you that
I want to know when I can get to the end of it.
Yes.
Yes. What's
so
the
where's
end?
the end? And when do I have to
work back from
when
there?
When do I need to really start this fitness session? The best way I can describe Wilkinson is he never wanted to know. And he stood behind the line and the whistle went. And he did the first one as if he never did another one in the rest of his life. And he'd empty his tank. And he wouldn't ask for how much rest. And he'd wait for the whistle. And then he'd do it again. And it was just this whole new psyche that I hadn't been part of, which was the old school manager training session, get to the end, and still be standing. Whereas he'd sort of dragged us into the 21st century, because that's about the time when he joined. I think he got his first cap in 1998. And it was that level of dedication and that desire, literally every time he left the training field, he wanted to be, even if it was 0.01% better, he wanted to be better than when he stepped foot onto the training field. And it took him into a pretty dark place at times, which he's spoken about, because needing to be better every session is a tough place to be in, because sometimes you just can't, your body doesn't react and can't be there, and he could never quite get beyond that concept that sometimes just doing your best was enough.
But it's what he thrives on.
Yeah.
When we were in Japan, we were doing a promotional day, and we were sitting in the car on the way there, and we started talking about lifting weights and what if
single leg Romanian deadlift.
Correct.
Yes.
If you were to pick up one exercise, what would you do? And I picked a single leg RDL. Don't ask.
Okay.
But yours was
lat pull downs.
Lat pull downs. But Jonny just was like, pretty much anything that's endurance.
Yeah.
So, just don't tell me. I'll just keep going. And he started telling the story, and I'm not talking out of turn here by saying it. It kind of started where he'd be up in Newcastle, and he was period of time after being injured in the World Cup in 2003, and he'd go to the games on a Friday night, and then he'd hide in the gym before the match would start because he wouldn't want to be talking to people. Quite an introvert. And he'd be in the gym in his suit and tie and be like, I might just do a little something. And he'd start lifting a few weights. And he said, it's like that danger weights where you put on too much and you're wondering whether you can actually lift them. And I was like, oh, I got that one. I think I have another one in me. And he'd just keep on banging them out. And then he'd be like, I'll get on the rower here now, in his suit, rower. And I was like, do you gotta have a shower? Oh, no, you don't smell till later on, you're fine. But it's just a completely different mentality than we can't get our heads around it, because he's so unique, and even being a pundit with him is really interesting but quite difficult, because he has these thoughts that it's really impossible to come in off the back of, because he thinks and sees the game so differently than everyone else. Very interesting on its own, but it's very hard to go, I know what you mean, and join him on the point, because he just he sees things very, very differently.
And Will, something I've always wanted to ask someone who was around him a lot, he does talk very eloquently about, he talked about his mental health recently, or you mentioned a touch introverted and a bit of a free spirit in some ways, in a lovely way, I think. Do you suspect he ever found the team environment, rugby, rah, difficult to be around for long periods of time, or is it too hard to say?
I think probably at times, if you asked him, I suspect, well, I'm putting words in his mouth here, he would have been disappointed with what he was seeing around him. And probably was like, I'm just fed up with these idiots who are still Corinthian and amateurs and why would they want to have a pint? Or why would they want to skip and cut the corner? Why would they not go round that cone? And I suspect at times that he would, me right at the top of that list would have, he'd have found particularly frustrating. But the story I often tell is, when it went to extra time, right? Jono's in the middle, and there's only 13 of us around him. And you think, well, no one was in the sin bin. And it was like 2 minutes before extra time, normal time and extra time. And where's Jonny in that 2 minute period? And everyone says, it's like when Andy says, where do you go in Vegas? You're all leaning in now. Where's Jonny? He was in the dead ball area with Dave Allred, taking 6 drop goals off his right foot and 6 drop goals off his left foot. Then he got his kicking tee out and he had 6 kicks at goal. Because he knew that in the next 20 minutes, he'd have to do at least one of those things. And you just go, that's about as good an insight as I can give to you. That if there was an opportunity to make himself better, he would take it. But he's had since... But imagine how trapped you must feel if that's what you feel the whole time. He's the most awesome human being
He's brilliant.
Ever. Yeah.
He's brilliant. I don't think people get a true reflection of what Jonny's like. Because he is quite introverted and because he does celebrity and fame quite badly. He doesn't want anything to do with it, and he'll get to where he needs to go fast, and he doesn't hang around after hours. But you get him in that car environment, and he completely opens up, and put him in company where he's at ease. He is a brilliant, brilliant character, and he's a laugh. And some of the things that you'd be talking about, during Six Nations games while it's going on, I hope the mics are down.